Alright, everyone. Welcome to my presentation, and I'm going to be doing a presentation on Mahjong, specifically the Chinese version, and let's get into it. So, first of all, what is Mahjong? Mahjong is a four-player board game where you play with tiles, and it has tons of cultural importance, especially to Asian culture in general, not just Chinese culture. In the Chinese version of the game, there are 144 tiles. There's 3 suits, honor tiles, and some flowers. Each suit has a copy of tiles that have numbers 1 through 9. And then we have the honor tiles, which are the 4 dragons. The 3 dragons. But each suit of these honor tiles have 4 copies. So there will be 4 white dragons, 4 green dragons, and 4 red dragons. And then we have the 4 different winds. You have north, west, south, and east. And those each also have 4 copies. Each person, they start with 13 tiles that only they can see. And the goal is to make a winning hand by getting 14 tiles. And the way to make a winning hand is by having at least only one pair. And then 4 other sets. And these sets can be either triplets or quadruplets or sequences. And I'll get more into it. I have some visuals that I think will explain this better. But some example of sequences will be 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4, or 3, 4, 5. If you have 3 green dragons, that's a triplet. And yeah. Now let's talk about the cultural significance. So culturally, Mahjong is either a very casual game or a very competitive game, depending on the person. So oftentimes this is, a family game that people will play over the holidays or the New Year's. They can show someone's luck and strategy at the same time. If I had to describe it, I will kind of say that it's kind of it's like chess, but with a little bit of luck. And people do sometimes gamble on Mahjong. I'd say it's more popular in the other forms of Mahjong, like in Japanese Mahjong. But most of the time, it's just a casual game that people in the family will play. And it's a good brain exercise for the most part. So, let's get into how to play. So, you need 4 players to play this game. You can play with 3 players, but that's a different rule set. So, what you're going to do is, when you start the game, you're going to have all these tiles, and you're going to want to mix them on the floor, face down, so no one can see them. And once they're mixed pretty well, then each person wants to build a wall. So you will get 17 tiles, and you're going to put 17 tiles in front of you, and then you're going to get 17 more tiles and stack them on top. So you kind of make a wall. Then you roll a dice to see where the wall breaks and who starts. That's a bit complicated on where you break the wall, but it depends on the number. I'll just go on to the next rules for now. But basically, one person is the dealer, and the dealer will deal out the tiles. So each person will get 13 tiles, and then the dealer will start. They'll go first, and they get 14 tiles. So once everyone has their wall built, and each have 13 tiles, and the dealer gets their 14th tile, they will choose to discard 1 tile, and then the game will keep going in a counterclockwise manner. While you play the game, your goal is to make a winning hand. So you want 4 melds and 1 pair exactly for the most part. And while people discard a tile from their hand, you have the option to call the tiles. So if someone discards this 5 bamboo, or this 7 of characters, or this red dragon over here, then if I want it, I could get it as long as it fits into one of these 3 categories. So if you were to do a chi, which is like I guess it's the same character for eating, but in this case it's to complete a sequence. So if I was wanting to do call a cheat on 7, then I could take that only from the player to my left. And in order to do this, I would need to have like something that will complete this 7 sequence. So if I had 6 and 8, then I could take the 7. Or if I had 8 and 9, I could also take the 7. Pung, you could take from any player if they discard something. So if someone discarded like this red dragon over here, and I had 2 red dragons in my hand, then I could call Pung on that, and I would basically take the red dragon and put it into my hand. Whenever you call Chi or Pung, you also have to discard a tile after you take the tile, and that basically kind of counts as like your turn. Gang is kind of the same thing as like Pung, but you basically do it for quadruplets. And now let's look at some more visuals. So I hope this will maybe clear up some confusions, since if you're new to Mahjong, maybe it's a little bit confusing, some of the tiles you might not know. But yeah, so these are character tiles, these are the circle tiles, they're pins, and these are the bamboo tiles. This is an example of some wind tiles. This is also wind, and this is a dragon tile. That's for the green dragon. The one you saw before was a red dragon. But yeah, here we can see an example of a sequence. So they can be 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, or 3, 4, 5, and they have to be part of the same suit. So you can't have like a sequence of 2, 3, 4, but they're all different suits. Triplets are pretty easy to understand. You just need to have 3 of the same tile. And you'll notice that when it comes to the honor tiles, like the winds or the dragons, you can only pretty much do triplets or pairs. And speaking of pairs, in order to win Mahjong, you need to have at least 1 pair. Sorry, you need to have exactly 1 pair, my bad. So to win a Mahjong game, you need exactly 1 pair, and then 4 other sets of either sequences or triplets or quadruplets, for the most part. There's some edge cases, but for the most part, that's how you would win a Mahjong game. This slide just goes over it more. So yeah, you need exactly 1 pair, and then either some sequences or triplets. So right here it says 4 sequences of triplets plus 1 pair equals a win. Alright, now pop quiz. I want you to pause the video and see what tile of these 3 options is needed to win. I'll give you 3 seconds to pause the video. Alright, so now I hope you were able to do it. Let's see which one. Let's go through it together actually. So we have 2, 2, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So we have a pair. This is a sequence. This is an incomplete sequence. This is a sequence, and this is a sequence. So we have 13 tiles here, and this is our draw. In order to win this hand, we will need to get the 2 to complete our sequence. So that's the correct answer. Alright, let's go on to the next slide. So now, if you're a beginner, it's pretty intimidating, pretty challenging how to play for your first time, but I have some tips on how to play. These are my personal tips. I'm not the best Mahjong player, but after playing for like maybe about a couple weeks, this is what I kind of found. You want to get rid of the terminal tiles, such as the tiles like 1 through 9. If we go back, that would include like the 1 over here. The reason why I say this is because it's harder to make sequences with like the tiles 1 and 9. Since if you had the tile 2, you could wait on a sequence of 1 or 3, but for 1 you could only have like 1 option, which is the number 2 or the number 9. The only sequence you can make with it is number 8. So that's the reason why. The next thing I would say is to get rid of the wind tiles. So over here we have like a pretty decent hand. We're kind of close to winning. Um, but the problem with wind tiles specifically is that you can't really make sequences with them, and you only really get points if you are getting the wind tile that is belonging to your seat, or if it's the east wind. So in this case, it's the west wind, and this tile is pretty much useless to us unless we get 2 more of these. We could get a pair, and that could be our pair, but in this case, we already have like we actually don't have a pair already, but we have a triplet, but this could be turned into a pair. But for the most part, it's pretty hard to win with wind tiles. You would need to get like a triplet of them. If you are the west player, so you can be north, west, east, or south, then you would actually get points for having a triplet of them. And then the round could either be east or south. So you might consider keeping the tile for the west wind, but for the most part, I think new players should just always get rid of like the wind tiles for the most part. And these would also include the dragons. The dragons, you also cannot make sequences of them. You can only make pairs and triplets of them. Dragons, I would say, are a bit more useful than the winds, because if you get a triplet of dragons, then you have a point. And we'll get more into scoring, but basically, if you get 3 of the red or the white or the green dragon, then that's considered good, and you would get a point for that. And then the next other tip I would say is don't try to win every hand, and don't always try to make calls whenever you can. So if you go back to the slide about doing chi, peng, or gang, whenever you make a call, you actually reveal that part of your hand. So if I was to call chi on 7, I would reveal that like I have a 7 in my hand, and the which is the one I just took from the other player, and the other 2 tiles that I have. You also get less points if you reveal part of your hand, so that's another reason why I would say try not to make calls for new players. Now we're going to get into regional differences. We have Japanese Mahjong Riichi. This is one of the more popular versions of Mahjong. It's only second to the Chinese version of Mahjong, and I would say internationally this is more popular. Chinese Mahjong is very popular in China and internationally as well. The only difference with Japanese Mahjong is there's a concept called Riichi, which is why it's called Japanese Mahjong Riichi. There's 136 tiles instead of 144, and it's a bit more strategic, I would say, and punishing, since you can get like way more points, and the rules are a bit different. We've talked a lot about the Chinese Mahjong so far, and then there's American Mahjong. It actually has more tiles, 152, which includes jokers. It has like some preset hands, and it's kind of feels like more like a puzzle, and it's definitely like the most wackiest, most different type of Mahjong. If you were to like buy Mahjong sets, you would probably be buying an American Mahjong set that comes with jokers today if you went to a store today. Alright, now we're going to go over scoring. So in Chinese Mahjong, at least, there's a fan system, and each winning hand can contain 1 or multiple fans. So we'll go over some examples. If you were to win a hand with no 1s or 9s, this would be the all simples. I believe the word for it is Tanyao. So that would give you 1 fan. If you were to have a triplet of the dragons or the winds, but the win in asterisk if it's related to your seat, or if it's the round win, you get 1 fan. Um, if your hand was concealed, which means you never made any calls, then you also get 1 fan. So that's another reason why you shouldn't do calls. And then if you won by getting the last tile that you needed, by doing a draw, then you'll get 1 fan. You can win Mahjong if someone else discards the tile that you need to. So if someone else discarded the 8, and the last tile that I needed to win my hand was the 8 to make make a triplet or a pair, then what would happen is I would win. I would call Ron on him, and then that person would have to pay me all the fan that's my hand is worth. But if I were to draw the winning tile myself, then I would say it's sumo, and everyone would have to pay me how much fan that my hand is worth. It can get pretty complicated with scoring. So if your hand is all triplets, then that's 2 fan. If you have 7 pairs, that's 2 fan. It's like a special type of hand. If you have a half flush, which is like you have only 1 suit and then the rest is like honor tiles, then that's 3 fan. And then there's 6 fan hands, which is the little dragons or the little winds or a full flush. The little dragons is basically if you have a triplet of 2 of the dragons and a pair of the second of the third dragon. So if I had 3 white dragons, 3 red dragons, and 2 green dragons, that would give me a lot of points. This will be a little dragon. If I was to get 3 dragons, 3 like triplets of all the dragons, that would actually be the big dragons, and that would give you like the max payout. So it's the same thing for the little wins, and the full flush is kind of similar to the half flush, but it's basically all of your tiles are just 1 suit of the numbers from either the characters, which is like this one, the bamboo, or one of the circles or the pin. Alright, now let's do another pop quiz. So I'll give you 2 seconds to pause the video if you want to pause it. But this one should be kind of simple. How much fine is this one worth? So let's take a look. It actually depends. But if we just look at the tiles right now, we see that there's a set of a sequence, another set of a triplet, a sequence, our pair, and then our sequence over here. So if you notice about these tiles, there's no terminals, which is there's no 1s or 9s, and there's no honor tiles also, which means there's no dragons, there's no winds, no flower, no nothing. So that would give us an all simples. So we would get 1 fan for that. And then this tile that we drew, which is our winning tile, it would depend. If we drew it ourselves, then we would get another fan for sumo. But if someone else were to play it and we run them, we will not get the fan for that. And then it also depends if we made any calls in the game. So if this hand was completely concealed and we didn't call chi or pun or anything like that, then we would get another fan for that. So depending on all of these, we could get 1 for all simples, 1 for concealed hand, and 1 for self draw. So at most this could be about 3 fan. Alright, so now my next slide is how to play Mahjong. I'd say the easiest play to play Mahjong is to play online on the web browser. You can also get the phone app, and by far the most popular client will be Mahjong Seoul. If you are in China, you will be playing the Chinese version, but if you're not living in China right now, then you would be playing the Japanese version of Mahjong. I play this game a lot. I think it's pretty cool. Even though I made a whole presentation about Chinese Mahjong, a lot of the things will carry over. So I recommend playing on this one. Alright, now we're going to see Mahjong in media. So here, this is a movie called Crazy Rich Asians, and there is a Mahjong scene where the main character was playing Mahjong against the, I guess, the antagonist, which was the mother of her fiance. We have the Joy Luck Club movie. This is a movie about Chinese immigrants in America, and they had a Mahjong scene. And I can't talk about Mahjong without mentioning at least once one of my favorite shows slash manga, Akagi. This is where I got introduced to Mahjong. Actually, I learned how to play Mahjong just so I could like watch this anime, and I recommend everyone to either read or watch the anime once you learn how to play Mahjong at least. But yeah, this is by far one of the most popular forms of Mahjong in media. So yeah, that's about it for my presentation. Hope you guys had a good time. I'm going to maybe play this some YouTube shorts just to see how like Mahjong is usually played.
Let me show you.
So this is how it usually is. It's kind of fast paced. So you can see they're like discarding all these tiles. This guy looks like he won, and then he kind of messed up. And then we have that's what he was trying to do. He kind of messed up, but one cool thing you can do is you can like grab all the tiles as one by holding it on the ends. And yeah. Thank you for going to my presentation, and yeah, I hope you guys had a good time watching this.